going to call the meeting to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Act of the State of New Jersey. Adequate notice of this meeting. This is a remote meeting of the Franklin Township Trails Advisory Committee on February 9th, 2022. Was posted on the township's website and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, indicating that this remote meeting would take place via WebEx at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, February 9th, 2022.
Okay.
We're going to do a roll call.
Okay.
Do you want me to just call out the names, Vanessa? Is that easier?
That would be great. Thank
Sure.
you.
Vanessa Jones,
Present?
Anne Marie Orleski.
Here.
Jim Kuligowski,
Here.
Mark Fortin,
Here.
Chuck Martin,
Here.
Tom Lewis,
Here.
John Hurling. Okay, we have our new member, Anna Gerwell,
Here, thank you.
and Mayor Kramer. Right.
Okay, so we have the introduction of our new member. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us how to pronounce your name properly?
My name is Easy, it's Anna, and I am a resident of Franklin Township for the past 7 years. I am an avid hiker, and I really appreciate all of your work, what you've been doing on those trails, and especially the first time I went out with Vanessa and then with Chuck, I couldn't believe how many beautiful trails we have here, but how few people actually hike on them. So I thought that it would be great to, to just introduce more people to our beautiful trails. I took some people who have been lifelong members of Franklin Township, but they've never been on some of the trails. So it would be great to increase and encourage them to take advantage of that. And I also love that the nature is free. We can include, eventually like maybe children from New Brunswick and other areas to let them see the beautiful world that we live in. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Anna. Do we need a motion to approve the January 2022 minutes?
I just have one question for Chuck, very minor point that I didn't understand. If this is what you meant, or if it was just a spell check or something like that. Under new business, 2021 accomplishments, number 4, it says repopulating OSAC with Trails Committee meeting. I didn't really understand that.
I don't understand it either, Jim. I'll have to take a look at that and correct that.
Maybe members or something like that. That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, my problem. I'll take a look at it. I don't have it up on my screen, so I can't really look at it right now. But
Okay. Otherwise, they're perfect. You do a
Okay.
great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm assuming he probably means repopulating the demonstration gardens at Negrina Podi, that we're going to present that to OSAC. Is that what that's probably what it's supposed to say, something like that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think Jim had it right the first time. It's repopulate the Open Space Advisory Committee with Trails Committee members.
Right.
Now
The
that we have
members,
both,
not meetings.
now that we have both John and Chuck on there, for a while we were without. We seem to have a bit of an absence.
Yeah.
In the past, there was a gap for a bit, but now with John and Chuck on there, I think sounds like the intent. I consider that an accomplishment.
I agree, Mark. Yeah, you clarified it. Yeah, since it's listed under accomplishments, I agree.
I mean, I think the other thing's already there that Tara mentioned too. I think there was another item that was more to what she was mentioning about the gardens. So I think this was a separate thing.
Okay. Thanks for your help.
But I will abstain in advance since I was not present at the last meeting. So I'll just let you know, I'll abstain in advance on any motion and vote on the minutes.
Okay. With respect to approval of the minutes, I'll put that this was moved by Jim Kulikowski and seconded by Mark and approved by the committee.
No, I can't. I guess because I'm abstaining, I can't second.
Okay.
I'll
All
second.
right.
So because I had asked for a motion to approve the minutes, and Jim, you jumped in and asked for a clarification, but are you okay with making a motion to approve them?
Yes, I am. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. A second from
Okay, thank you very much, all of you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Mark,
Abstain.
and anybody, a no, anybody against him?
Okay.
Nope, okay, great. Tara, is there anybody, in the waiting room for us to open up for public comment?
We have Bill Bowman. Do you want me to just ask?
Sure.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, everybody. I'm good, thanks. Hey,
All right.
Emery.
She's
Okay.
waving. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and no other members of the public.
All right, so then we won't move to open to public comment, and we can go right ahead to our pathways and trails plan.
Okay. All right, so let me back up here for a minute. Okay, so what I did for this time, I had sent out the chapter called Assets and Obstacles. We were going to discuss that at this meeting. So I guess we can go through discussing that, seeing what we like, what we want to change, etc. I basically put together a mock-up of what the full plan would look like. It only has the draft chapters in it, but I figured if I showed you kind of what the final product will look like just in order. So it's all drafts together, but this way we can look at it and you can see like how, because we have a lot of the chapters complete. So it's a matter of finalizing those drafts and like getting a cover and putting the mapping in and things like that. So whichever order you want to do it in is fine with me. The text for assets and obstacles. You want to do the text for assets and obstacles first so we can get through that?
That sounds good to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Go ahead, Chuck. You had a question or?
Well, I just want to say that I spent some time this afternoon looking through this, and actually I would be very much interested in suggesting some revisions to the verbiage on it. But I can, it's pretty extensive. I'm wondering if it would be best for me just to send Tara a marked up copy when I can get one made, and
Yeah.
with my suggestions as a way of doing it.
Yeah, you can do that for sure. We can go through it as a group, and if you have substantive comments, Chuck, that you want to insert, like say, to the group, then I can make a note of that. But yes, any verbiage comments, if you have written comments, feel free to send them to me. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just started marking up. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is what I've done for the last 50 years, so it's not like
yeah.
I just sort of slipped into that mode, I guess. But
Uh-oh. He went into professor mode, so it's probably
so
okay.
yeah. So if you want to start talking about it, that's fine, and I'll just make comments about what comments I'd like to make, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, and before we go any further, as the timekeeper, we have 45 minutes. So I am timing our discussion on the Trails and Pathway Plan.
Awesome.
Starting
Thank you.
now.
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Thank you, Emery.
All right, I have it up on the screen. It's up, I guess, does anyone have any comments they want to start off with, like right away? This is really like a very not in-depth, I should say, it's all encompassing at this point, so we can talk about removing parts, adding parts, editing, whatever, if anyone has any major comments, I guess, right off the top.
I did review it. I just had some minor revisions and then some questions as we go further along, but there was nothing in that initial asset paragraph.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Like, I guess we can go through. Does anyone have any comments right in the very beginning? assets, the history in Franklin Township, about the amount of information, not enough information, edits, anything like that?
In the history, I'd like to include a bit more, quite a bit more information. Actually, I feel
Okay.
like if this is a public document that's going to last for 10 years, I feel like we sort of need to put in some data to inform the public
Okay.
and so on. So in the history, I did change around the first sentence to say in 1745, during the British colonial era, Franklin was originally established as the Eastern Precinct, blah, blah, blah. But in the second paragraph, I felt like it was important to point out that the 3,037 acre 6 mile run is a part of DNR Canal State Park. And while it is one of the most impressive areas, I feel like we have other impressive areas as well, but we can talk about that. And in the following paragraph, I felt like the sense of this paragraph was sort of farm preservation centric. And I sort of felt like we need to add other priorities that were part of the original open space referendum and proposal, as I remember reading it in the voting booth in 2000, whatever it was. So I was wanting to insert a section in after the first sentence about farming to say that another priority is the preservation of open space as parks, forests, and grasslands for conservation, recreation, and educational uses for all citizens. And then to add that the 2021 Somerset County Open Space Report records that Franklin Township has 7,962 acres of preserved open space, consisting of 1,148 acres of county, 2,234 acres municipal, 4,479 acres state, and 100 acres or 1 acres of nonprofit lands. These comprised open space areas comprise 27% of the land area in the township. Within the municipal open space areas, there are approximately 580 acres of forest, 331 acres of grassland habitat, and approximately 1,323 acres leased back as farmland. There are approximately 10.6 miles of forest trails, 8.4 miles of grassland trails, and I don't know the number of miles of roadside bike trails. And Mark, do you have an idea? I feel like that's an important number to put in. What do other people think about it? I guess that's the question.
I mean, I don't know the numbers of trails, miles of trail off the top of my head. I mean, you can probably see this coming, but my opinion is that I think everything before the assets section is unnecessary. I mean, this is a pathway and trails plan document. If people want to find out history about Franklin, there's other places to find that. I don't think that adds to helping people focus on the pathways and trails and the goals that we're trying, these are the things we want to do. And I think the rest of it is, again, I think adds to clutter and noise in the document. I don't think it adds to it.
I guess my argument would be this is a public document that will be used for planning, but also will be used for research from interested citizens about what are our trails and what our open space areas are. And my concern is that it took me quite a while to even find these numbers. I mean, the records are not good. And some of the records I still can't find with respect to these data. And I feel like they're important planning data that would be used for a number of purposes. One of them might be to inform irate anti-tax people that this is what our money's being spent on. Others might have to do with concerned citizens wanting to know, how we stack up with other communities in terms of our contributions to passive recreation, park space, educational space, and preservation of farmland space. So that's my opinion. So
Sure. And I mean, I think all that, the discussion of how much we have definitely belongs in assets. And I think cataloging our assets in the pathways and trails plans is correct. I'm just saying that the history part and the geology part, I don't see what those add to the pathways and trails plan. I feel like that's more stuff that people have to wade through to get to the things that I'd expect out of a pathways and trails plan, which is a very clear laser sharp focus on the pathways and trails. And I would expect, just there's other groups who put together for the township other documents like this for their purposes, right? There's a different historical committee altogether, and don't they create a document? So are we, why do we need to cross over into their territory about history? And open space, don't they create a document like this for the purposes of planning? And if so, right, again, we don't need to catalog their open space acreage. They've already got that. So I guess I just don't see why we need to add that extra stuff here.
yeah, well, in terms of open space acreage, that is all acreage that is potential areas for placement of trails. So it would be
Not necessarily. Preserved
my
farmland,
opinion.
which falls under open space.
well.
They can go two ways. They can either do it as open space or preserved farmland. And when they do it as preserved farmland, that's not areas that necessarily can be opened for public trail access. So,
Well, I'm trying to think down the road in terms of the fact that a lot of land that we are leasing back to farmers as preserved farmland, in fact, is forest. And to me, it is actually an important place where we might actually be able to put trails. In fact, I think in some of these areas, in fact, that might be the only areas that we could actually place a trail that would be a continuous. I know of your particular interest in establishing a continuous north-south trail. Right now, my sense is that the Open Space Committee does not want to ask farmers who have those areas leased back to them to allow trails through the wooded areas, which they're actually not farming. And I think that's I think that's an attitude that is contrary to what our needs as a Trails Committee are. So
it's an interesting point there, because I guess I was unaware that the areas marked as preserved farmland included woodland space. Why would those be considered preserved farmland? And why wouldn't we look to change the type of land use? Because if they're not going to farm it, why is that included as part of the lease? That doesn't make any sense.
That's what I've been struggling to try to find this out for the last ever since I've been on the Trails Committee, I guess. And it's a struggle finding this information. What I can tell you, what I've learned so far, is that the farmland leased, the areas that are leased back to farmers in the 6 Mile Run area, which is part of the state park, the only areas that are leased to the farmers are what are called tillable acreage. The wooded areas are not leased back to the farmers. But in the case of the township properties, as I understand it, the wooded areas are in fact included in the lease and give the farmers the right to restrict trespass in these areas. So I would really like to bring this up for discussion and deliberation, not only at the Trails Committee, but also at the Open Space Committee. But I think that's a bit down the road. in terms of,
Yeah, I would think that's in a conversation for open space as to why would they include forested areas in the farmland? Why would it include non-tillable acres? But I mean, it's not something Trails Committee, it's not really within our our area, our scope. And it's, while I agree with you, it's not within our scope to change. And I think it's an excellent topic to ask at open space.
well, I would consider this information to be valuable, even if, just as public access in the Trails Committee report. I don't see the need to exclude this information. But I'd like to get the sense of the committee with respect to that. I feel that this data is important. I feel like it's open access to this data is quite important for a number of reasons. So that's my sense of it.
I just have one more question. That is, Tara, did Open Space do a plan similar to like what we've done here, PTP? Do they create a document like this?
They do, yes. They create an open space and recreation plan, which I believe is going to have to be updated in the next few years. So yes,
And
they
so
have a
they-
plan. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, and I was just going to say the farmland preservation plan was just updated in 2019.
And so would that include the information that we're putting in here, which is information of like that's being suggested, the amount of acreage that falls into each of the categories and so forth?
It would, yeah. So for example, in the open space plan, there is discussion about acreage and trail miles. That information is also in the farmland plan. It's required that they talk about the open space acreage and proximity to farmland and things like that. So you will see this information like throughout a variety of, I believe our environmental resource inventory also has some of the same information, which was also updated in 2019. So you'll see the information, the basic information is in a lot of plans, and then the way it's kind of analyzed and discussed will differ based on the content of each plan.
Okay, well, I'll be quiet now. I've said my piece, so.
Other people want to give their input as far as having detailed information in this section, the scope of it. What are other people's thoughts?
Well, so many issues just came up in the last few minutes. I'm, trying to recall the data that Chuck presented was, I don't know if that's in the history section or a separate section or a listing or paragraph form. As we all know, when you put so many data in a paragraph form, people don't attend to it. So I'm not quite sure what to do with all that huge list.
I think, one thing I would recommend with that type of data, I would put it in a table within the document if we do keep it, or bulleted points, not in paragraph form.
I was thinking of bullets, but where would you put it?
Well, we'd probably have to put a different, just like a short heading that basically is like, here's how, description of existing open space and trails in Franklin Township, and we can bullet it that way or make a table out of it. That's simple enough to do.
A quick overview at a glance or something, because we do have other tables as we progress through this document.
Yep, we could definitely do that. We would put it in a simple, readable form. Yep.
I just would like to say that I like Tara's idea and in the bulleted form, and I do like the background, but bulleted form is a good idea.
Yep, thank you. Okay.
I think it's easier to know where you're going if you can tell where you've been. So I would keep the information somewhere in the report. How, where, why, I think is secondary. But I think it's important to know how the history of and what the accomplishments have been to date.
Okay.
Hi,
I think, and the data that Chuck's talking about, we can get a lot of it from the county's preservation plan, which is supposed to be adopted in May 2022, but the draft is out and we can get a lot of that info from there.
I have to say that some of this data I actually took out of the table from that county plan, which I inserted in the minutes, I believe in the October or November minutes.
Right, yeah.
Of the meeting. But there is other data which I literally had to go through and try to measure areas off of the township tax maps to measuring wooded areas versus grassland areas. I had to measure trail links. Our trail maps are not in any way accurate with respect to the length of trails. I mean, like I said, this information is hard to come by. I've been working on this for a while because I'm interested in it. I like messing with maps too, I guess. But it's I feel like this is very important information, and it I again reiterate, I think that it should be included and made available to.
Can I jump in?
Public.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if like, unfortunately, Chuck, you're saying that it's not readily available, because my thought was if this information, if there was a site, a link, I think it would make a lot of sense to link a site to this document for more detailed information, right? I like, Tara's idea of having the bullet points or a graph, kind of touching upon pieces, and then to have like a concise version of the history piece. But to have a link to more detailed information might meet everybody's needs. But I know there's not, Chuck, what you're saying, there's not an existing place to find it, but maybe that's something we could consider, is creating this document, maybe putting it on our website, not necessarily having to have every detail in the report to make it more user friendly.
That's a good idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can always make it an appendix to the report as far as that goes. But this report should actually be published on the township. It should be readily available. And I believe the previous trails plan is, although I'm not sure with the new webpage whether it's gotten on there yet.
Yeah, once it's completed, it'll definitely be made public and put on the website for sure. So it'll be definitely readily available. So.
Well,
So is this something that we can kind of, Chuck, you have pieces of this underway. Tara, is this something Chuck can finalize, get more information? We can see how long it is, if it can be made concise, if we want to have, and determine whether it's going to be an appendix or a link. I think that once we have a better understanding of how much information we're talking about, then we better understand. Because I feel like that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing two things. We want people to be informed. We also want a document that's reader friendly. So maybe we can find a middle ground.
Yeah.
We could take the information and make an infographic out of it, like through Canva or something. A lot of times and we can put that right in the plan, and it looks nice, and it also conveys the information easily. We could look at something like that. So yeah, I guess, Chuck, when Chuck sends me his markups, I can basically figure out or I can propose the data points, and then we can go through it and say yes to this, no to that,
I'm fine. I'll be happy to mark it up. I can put it. God knows I've written a lot of tables in my life. It's no problem to put this in. I've already got a spreadsheet. One of the problems, though, is that I still don't feel like I've got all the information and all the information in an accurate form. So
what are you missing?
Like I said, I don't know where this information, I don't think the information even exists in terms of getting accurate links of our trails. We still have a problem with uh, we do not have accurate maps of our trails.
That's on
and
the agenda for later. That's on the agenda for later, getting more accurate.
So, you know, I think accumulating this data, first of all, is going to take some more time. I guess that's what I'm saying is that, but I would like to see the data accumulated. Is my feeling about it, and published in an open way in an open record. So
Okay.
that's
Mayor,
all.
Can I say something?
Who are you
Mayor-
asking?
I thought Mayor Kramer was about to say something before, but maybe not.
I wanted to know what data you were missing, and you said the length of trails and maps of trails.
Our trail maps don't accurately depict what our trails are there at this point. For example, I went out and I pulled down the trail maps for the Negri-Napodi site and used the trail distances in the table for the first as a first effort. But then I started to actually mapping them using a measuring tool, a graphics measuring, mapping measuring tool, and the numbers were quite different, quite far off. Also, the data did not discriminate between forest trails and grassland trails, which I think is an important point because I feel I get the sense that our forests, our township forests, have sort of been neglected in a sense in terms of deliberations about what we should maintain and so on. And I feel like our forests are very important, and I think we need to point out in the record, what areas of our trail are actually in forests and what are actually associated with grasslands. And also, I feel like we need to provide information about our bike trails that are being established across the on the roadways. And quite frankly, I've been trying to figure out, what we now have new bike trails on Amwell Road between East Millstone and Cedar Grove Lane. Is that are those township trails?
County.
Should and actually, if they're not township trails, should we also include these in the document because they're trails in the township?
Yeah.
Were there bike lanes established on Cedar Grove Lane in various sections? What about DeMott Lane? Is that wide path there a bike path, or is that are bikes only allowed on the highway? Although we see bike riders on those sidewalks all the time. But I think we need to identify them. We need to publish them. So yeah, it just it really is a bit of a struggle trying to get this information to get it all collected together, and it just I'm still a scientist. This is still what I do. I'm trying to gather information and assemble it and try to think about how it works.
Tara, do you know?
Yes.
I check with Bob. Some of it may be in GIS already, like trail lengths. Maybe they
Right,
make it
yeah.
back. Or
I
it
will.
would be easy for them to obtain it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to have someone hike the trail with a GPS.
Well,
Yeah,
I have the feeling we're gonna have to do that anyway.
Yeah,
Because-
that's on our agenda. Can you guys also, are you able to see the map I'm showing now, or is it still showing the other document?
We see the map.
We can
Map.
see the map.
You see a map? Okay, so this plan is the county's walk, bike, and hike map, plan. And they have, so by township, they have existing and proposed trails, which are here. Now there's, these are PDFs, but I'm sure that the county has the GIS layers, and I'm sure we can get them. Which that'll give us some mileage and You know, so that'll be helpful. We can definitely get those GIS layers and use this PDF map. I know it's not exactly, it's probably not 100% at this point, but that's just one resource that we can also use to get the information. So that's like Franklin.
So it sounds like this is going to take, this is a process, you know, to get this updated information. But I don't know, I think it's really valuable for us to have. But is this something, Tara, that we can kind of put a pin in for now and continue with the document? I'm not sure what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, we do need to decide what type of data we want in there, but yeah, so we can, I'm making a note here to get the GIS layers from the walk, bike, hike plan. And we can use that to kind of analyze what we have versus what they have and see where the discrepancies are. So yeah, we can at least start with that as a starting point, and we can look at the other parts of the document now to decide if you want to keep some stuff in or take it out, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
So like geology, for example, the reason I saw this in another plan, and I think the main reason it's in there is because it's basically showing like what do we have existing in terms of geology in Franklin Township, and how would that kind of impact our ideas for locations for trails development. So this is, I guess, do we want to keep geology in here, or is it just take it out?
I like geology. It's a short little piece and some people will find it very interesting.
And it kind of gives, if you're just kind of looking for a place to go, and that kind of gives you an overview of where the trails might lie. I think it's a good idea.
Yes. I agree completely. I actually am in the opposite camp from Mark. I feel like the more information you have, the better we are. You know, it's not.
All right, so we're gonna keep that one in then, I guess. Okay, and then the next one, so population and demographics. I have to update this with the more recent updated data that's available, but just so you follow my logic of putting it in here, is that I wanted to put something in about population and demographics to show, to kind of almost provide more of a story about maybe our people, you know, what ages, what abilities, what, you know, is there a way we can make kind of a deduction or figure out, are there people in our town that really are interested in trails? And so that's why I put it in there. That's kind of like me backing into it. So do we want to keep this in, or do you think take out?
I like it. I think it's valuable. I think it's valuable for us as a committee to consider this information as we're thinking about trails and advertising and making modifications to trails to be inclusive. So I think this gives us some information to recognize who we should be inclusive of.
Okay, that was kind of my thinking. Oops, my bad. Hold on one second. Okay, there you go again. I'm sorry.
It's a small section too. It's not.
Yeah. If we can use the data to use it, not just to be like, here's bullet points of data, but to say, you know, this is the amount of people we have, this is how much open space, maybe we can make a connection with, do we have enough open space and trails really to serve the people that we have? If we can pick data that we're using to inform our decisions, then it'll be appropriate, I think.
That would be interesting.
I would update the population numbers though with the latest census information that is available.
I'm making a note here. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're planning on doing, right, Tara?
Yes, I figured I would make sure that we were keeping it in before I went through the census data, which is sometimes, you know. So yes, I can absolutely do that.
All right, that sounds good.
Any other comments on that part, or? so assets, scootin'. Okay, so then this part here is basically, this is a written description of our trail system and what we have, like the actual assets. So this is a written description. What I can do in each section is, and I will update this, I can in each section just leave it as a table. We can put a little description in like we have, which I think is kind of nice. I can turn the whole thing into one big table and just have the names of the trails by property and then amenities that they have and what you're allowed to do and the difficulty level. So there's a few different ways to do it. In the existing trails plan, it's a little description and then the table like this. So just thoughts. I mean, I think this, everyone will probably agree that this should be in this section. It's just, do you want me to make it one big table or do you want me to do a little written description like about every site?
I did like the little written description. I think that brings people more into, you know, what are they looking at, what's going on. And there's no mention of hunting anywhere.
Yeah.
Do we want to put something like that there? Because that's a big piece of a lot of these properties in terms
Yeah.
of accessibility.
And hunting is a trails issue. It's not just an open space issue,
Yeah.
really. And it's, I think this really needs to be clearly addressed.
Yeah, so just so in the final document, one of the chapters that I was proposing, a small chapter on stewardship, and I figured we would talk in that section about hunting, and anything else related to, so hunting, I figured could go in that section. But I do think, yes, Anne Marie, you're correct. If there's, if it's closed down for a period of time where hunting is happening, we should probably make a note of that in the asset section, because you're right, it's something that impacts when and if people go. If everyone agrees with that.
Hey, Tara, just to let you know, you're a little more muted than you were earlier.
Oh, geez, okay. Can you hear me any better now or no?
That's better.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I think I accidentally hit the volume. I'm sorry. Okay. What was I just gonna write? Add, my memory is terrible. Add
You're going to put something about hunting in there.
hunting. Yep. Yep. Okay.
Just a quick question, and this is my own ignorance about the Middle Bush Park trails, and Tom is there. So are there really 4 distinct trails?
Not really.
Blue, red,
I was
purple,
like,
brown.
wow, we have 4 distinct trails there. I didn't know.
Well, there are, but they don't, see, the problem is they don't connect.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that makes,
that red trail, if you take out the city, you have to go along city streets to connect the trail on the red trail. I know. And there is a grassland trail there that I've hiked several times. But it's got entrances that are not very well defined, like you can enter behind the baseball field. And there is a trail there. It's right behind the autumn olive tree.
There's a trail that goes from the front entrance to the ball field. If you, I mean, it's really not well defined, but as you said, it's kind of a trail. But part of the problem with Middle Bush Park is you've got nice features in a lot of the different trails, but they don't connect.
Right.
Sorry, in the document, Tara, is there a place where you list more detailed information about what kind of trees are most commonly seen, what kind of reptiles, insects, what kind of animals, what kind of wildflowers? Is there a section on that anywhere?
There is not. I'm not saying that there can't be, but we just don't have it right now.
Tara, could you, we can't hear you very well.
Jeez, I'm sorry. I don't know. You know what? Let me get my microphone because something's going on here with this. But can you hear me at all now? Hang on, let me get my microphone. Give me 1 second.
Now we can hear you.
Now I can hear you.
Oh, you can? You know what? I'm like in a
Yes.
weird spot maybe. Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening. Okay.
So what did you say in response to Anna's question about?
Hold on, let me just check this microphone.
Can you hear me any better now?
That's pretty weak.
It just got worse.
Oh my gosh, still bad? Even when I go like this with my crazy microphone? You know what I think? I'm sorry. I think my daughter is like has her music on downstairs. Let me tell her just to stop. Hang on. Please.
Yeah, actually, Anna, I've thought for some time, I would like to work on putting together some fairly detailed biological descriptions of each of our trails.
I
And
think that'll be great. I think that'll be great, Chuck. You have so much knowledge, and I think that a lot of people are really interested in that. And it will be a great learning tour for kids or adults. So I think it's great, and I would like to help with that as well.
you know, there have been, I know Arnold, Environmental Commission, Shade Tree Commission, had proposed several years ago, putting markers, you know, identifying trees on certain trails, and so on. I would love to work on a project like that.
That's just like in Colonial Park. They have markers for the trees in Colonial Park, right? And roses and different perennials as well. I think it's great.
Yeah, the arboretum there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I had to get this microphone out. Okay. My response to Anna before was just that we don't have that information, but that doesn't mean we can't have that information. So yeah, you know, if that was something everyone wanted in, we could add that in.
I think it'd be valuable information, whether it be here or in our trail maps or, you know, wherever.
Yeah.
I mean, we could provide it separately. We could make up biological cheat sheets that, you know, for trail leaders or whatever. And
Well, Chuck, we have some of that information in the grasslands plan as it relates to the grasslands, right?
right.
So we could use some of that. And then I'm looking right now, I'm trying to get on and see if, okay, so our environmental resource inventory that was updated in 2019, I think may have some of that information. So we can check that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think it'd be a great project, and I would certainly be interested in participating in it.
Okay. All right. So that's, let me write that down and I can share again now. So that's something we can look into adding. Okay. All right. So
Tara, I have little pamphlets also of different animals, different, you know, common to New Jersey, native species and birds and things like that. I have those little laminated pamphlets, which could be helpful as well. And, you know, some books on trees for like basic hiking and stuff like that. So I can show it to Chuck and then we can create something. A cheat sheet will be wonderful for leaders because some people, I was told, expect hiking leaders to tell them a little bit about what we see around.
okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
That
let
would
me
be very helpful. I'm just jumping in here. We have 5 more minutes.
okay. So let me skip real quick past the written descriptions of the trails. I will take care of that and then we can go through that. I mean, that's like what's there is, you know, there and we can go through it and make sure it all matches up. There's a section here about Colonial Park, a little background, 6-mile run. I have the notes in here to add the Demont Lane, the Van Cleef bike path, the county bike path along Amwell Road. Oh, here, and I had a note down here for the hunting policy to add that. These are just some notes here. Natural area maintenance. So this is kind of for the maintenance section. I think this was before I thought about a maintenance section. Complete streets. Oh, okay, so complete streets policy, that's something we can write in somewhere just quickly about how the county and the township have a complete streets policy, which basically says that, you know, the streets should be used by not just cars, but also by bikers and pedestrians. So that might be something we want to hit on. This is, I had talked to you guys about this before. I don't know if this goes in this section though. Add the review to the land development checklist for potential trails. Okay, so these notes, let's skip past them because I don't know if they're relevant to here. Obstacles, that's what I want to talk to you all about before we go. Obstacles is something that we should probably list even briefly. So these are the ideas that I had taken from the original plan and just, you know, thinking out loud. You can see them there. If any, you know, if you have any, oh no, I don't think that's an obstacle, or I'm missing a glaring obstacle that you want to let me know about, you know, I can make a note of that.
Sarah, what was meant by lookup trail amenities?
Okay. So I don't think that we have a very good, like a complete database that has all of our amenities in one spot where we can say someone called and said, I'm looking for places I can walk my dog. You know, there should be one area where we can just quickly be like here, here, and here instead of going through each section. So like a lookup table for amenities. That's what it should be, lookup table.
How about porta johns and improved parking?
Not having enough parking, you're saying, and not having enough like sanitary facilities?
Yeah, but I know that's a big issue.
Okay. That's it really. I mean, what I would say is, so I have a lot of notes to go through, so I can like make the changes um and write out these obstacles, and then maybe at the next one we can go through and decide if the obstacles are still relevant or if there's any missing.
Sarah, I'm not sure if it's here or down the line, but about trail maintenance, because last time I walked the trails last year, they weren't very well maintained.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about Butler trails. I went with my friend and she wanted to turn around immediately. So.
Oh, yes. So one of the things I was proposing was to have a separate section on maintenance and stewardship, because I think that's a whole nother separate area. So, and then we're going to discuss that. That's the next chapter really to discuss. But yes, that would be in there.
So are these obstacles are specific to just just in general, right?
Just in general, what are the obstacles for, you know, making new trails or keeping up with maintenance of our trails? I guess, like, just what are some obstacles that we deal with in terms of trails in general? Yeah, high level, you know, nothing in super detail.
I was just thinking about our conversation we had earlier, just about the data, like accurate data around our trails.
Right, yeah. That's true. Yep. Okay. Okay.
Okay, folks, we've now reached the golden moment. It's 45 minutes in.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so
Thank
for
you
the
so
next
much,
meeting,
Anne-Marie.
for the next meeting, I'll address all the changes we made and try to get into like a final draft form. Address edits. Okay. And send out. Okay. All right, so I can do that.
Okay, so we'll go back to the agenda. Anne Marie is keeping us honest with our times. Thank you so much. And now we are going to go ahead to new business. The first item on here is the GPS mapping of trails. So as we go into these different things here, I'm wondering, like, Anne Marie, as far as time, if we want to kind of like, and then we have, I don't know if we want to try to like, do you guys think like 5 minutes each, and then we can add on if we need it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so
5 minutes, I'm sorry, 5 minutes for new business?
No, for each of those items.
I was
Like
really gonna
five will-
speed through.
5 altogether, yeah.
Five each, but then we can add on. We can add on. I just keep us flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
problem.
Okay, so I've been talking to AT. He is our GIS staff, for Franklin Township. He's been kind of going through and trying to update our trails maps, not only for the PTP, but also just our regular trails maps to put at the kiosks. So he's been working on that. He basically came to much of the same conclusion that we all have, which is the data that's available is really not very accurate. It's relatively accurate, but it's not at the accuracy level that it probably should be or could be. So his recommendation was to GPS the trails, to walk the trails and GPS them. So him and I kind of had a conversation about it, and I was wondering, should we get a GPS device that we can all, walk with? He's willing to walk with anyone that wants to go, or if you want to just go on your own. So anyway, long story short is he does not have a GPS device, but he did use his cell phone with a GPS app that he has, a free GPS app. And what he basically said to me is, let me share this with you real quick. He did, where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Let me see. Where's his email? Here we go. Give me 1 second. Let me get this. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry. Oy. All right. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Got to get this. I can't like share 2 things at once. Give me 1 second here.
All
Let me
right.
pop this out. Okay. So he used the GPS free app for his phone. He said accuracy is more than acceptable for our purpose, in my opinion, using this GPS app. I've been thinking about the logistics of the trails GPS mapping project, and he wanted to basically have me run it by you all and see what you think, and then maybe him and I can talk again and see how we can go ahead and do it. But basically, his thought is that if we all, if we were to use a GPS app on our phone, he thinks that we can get much more accurate data. And a lot of these GPS apps will allow you to send the data directly to him, which he can then turn into a usable piece of data and digitize it. And then that would become our mapping layer. So it is a very accurate way to do it. It's going to take some time, but my thought was, especially as the weather breaks, I mean, we could go in groups, or if everyone wanted to do it on their trail, I could basically meet with AT, find out the GPS app that he recommends, and then he would come to one of our meetings and basically do a training about how to use it, how to correctly send him, which he basically said there's no like sending him. It's like you basically press a button and you put his name in it, his email address, and it'll send it right off. So you don't have to worry about converting data or anything like that. I think that would be the best way, because him and I have been talking about this for a while. When you're trying to map a trail, the best way to do it is to get the data right off the ground, because there's always a little bit of inaccuracy that's built into any satellite mapping system. So if that's, I mean, I can do it alone too. I can do it with AT just by myself, or I can go with you guys, or if you were out there and you wanted to do it, then that would be a little faster way to get it.
I use a GPS map on my phone on our trails. I also have been using it working with the state park map kayak routes on a canal.
Okay.
I think the app that I use is called Gaia, Gaia. GAIAI, or A, something like that. Golly, getting tongue-tied. But, and I think it will allow me to export these as a KML or one of the other two types of files. Is that what he is? What are the there's KML and there's X something something and whatever, different types of GIS files.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what he is wanting to receive. Is that
Yes.
the file for that?
Yeah, he would get, so basically we would need to use the app that is capable of submitting their specific files that can be uploaded into GIS. So as long as we use the one that we know works and we all use that one, it should be no problem. And basically we would just establish some general parameters. So he would come to our meeting, give us a training on how to use the app. He would even go with you if you wanted at one point. And then we would basically say, okay, when you're walking the trail, you have to, make sure you go from the starting point to the ending point. We want you to walk straight down the middle of the trail. You can't make any stops, or veer off. That's the kind of thing. It's like if you're doing it, and we would just establish those parameters and then submit it in.
I think that's a great idea. Get us all in the same app with the same training so we all know what to do, and then let's go.
I agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it. Yeah,
Anybody
just
else wanna
if you
take
could
it
send us
over?
the app, I'd be happy
Okay.
to load it on my phone and
Jim
start
and
checking
Mark,
it out.
what do you guys okay with that?
Yep, agreed. Sounds like if we all do it at the same time and we're all on the same page.
Great idea.
You good, Sue?
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta move on from this.
Okay. All right, so I'll invite him to the next meeting and then, yes, we'll do that. And of course, if anyone doesn't want to do it, they don't have to do it. I just want to make sure you know that.
Hey, Tara, I just want to mention one other thing. I know I was doing trail maintenance at Sourland once, and I know the ranger there was then meeting afterward. There was going to be somebody from Google Maps essentially doing what you're describing. And I just wonder if, that's something, if we could ever reach out to Google Maps to see if they wanted to do that for us too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can look into it for sure.
Actually, it would be great if we could, once we get our trails map, if we could get them displayed on Google Maps.
Exactly.
And I know this is done for other places. I just don't know
Yeah.
how it's done.
Yeah. So we'll just plant that seed. All right, so the next item on our agenda is the update on the call with Somerset County Planning Division regarding potential new trails.
Okay, so let me just get to my other notes. Here we go. Okay. So I had a call with Tom Bacino. He is the Director of Land Acquisition and Stewardship for Somerset County Planning Division. And we just kind of caught up about, any new thoughts about potential trail opportunities in Franklin Township from the county side, any thoughts about partnering or working together. So some of the things I found out from there is that the preservation plan is anticipated for adoption by the planning board at the May 2022 meeting. So once that's adopted, that'll be, in full force and effect, which is good. They received 125 written comments on the plan, which is a pretty good amount of comments. There has been talks about developing trails at the former Stavola property. It's been going on for some time there. But right now, this is the issue that's important to know is that the Park Commission has a kind of a shortage on labor right now. So a lot of their issues right now is that they are interested in partnering and developing trails. However, they do not have the capacity to maintain them. So basically, anytime that they want to develop a new trail with a municipality, the municipality really has to be able to help with that part, maintenance, because they are very short on workers and the ability to maintain trails, which that is That is a very common problem right now. Branchburg is having the same problem. Montgomery Township has expressed the same. It's just right now the way that it is. What else?
Was
we
that the
recommend-
Somerset County Park Commission?
Somerset County Park Commission, yep.
Not the State Park Commission. Yeah.
No, this is just from the county, yep. What else here? Tom recommends that if we are interested in looking at specific development of trails on county property, like the former Stavola property, that we set up a meeting. The next step would be set up a meeting with Jeff, oh my gosh, his name just Soriano. He's the director of the park commission, and he really kind of is, the one that can say, yes, we want to work with you about developing these trails, or, anything like that. So that's kind of where we left it off. It was just kind of an informal call to see if there's anything on the horizon right now. But again, they're kind of focused on finishing up that preservation plan and working on, the recreation grants, and then kind of taking care of what they have right now.
So the gist of the though is that yeah, they would like to work with us on putting together cooperative trails as long as we pay for it. Is that?
Well, no, not that. That's not the gist of it. The gist of it is really that, just like any place right now, if we're looking to work with them to do trails, it's that, can we assist? Is there a way we can assist with maintenance? Is there a way that we can talk about maybe, working on maintenance? Maybe there's a way we can figure out that the county will help us with this one, and the next one we're going to do something else. We need to kind of open up that conversation, basically, the other thing they said, they're always willing and open to kind of get any concept designs and discuss, not formal designs, but concept plans about potential trails in any township, and, provide feedback and discuss where they can be of assistance, things like that. So their door is open. I think they're very willing to be helpful. So it kind of was just like a catch up. And if we want to schedule another meeting with him to discuss something more in particular, we can definitely do that.
Do you know what the situation is with Lord Sterling Park? Do they have a regular maintenance staff, or are they relying on volunteer work to maintain their trails?
I don't know. I think in the past they did have a dedicated staff people, but I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a dedicated staff person now. I just don't know how many people there are.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Lord Sterling by the Environmental Education Center, Basking Ridge, or a different?
That's the one. Yeah.
I know my sister used to work at the EEC, and I know they had a lot of summer interns as well, which I think helped do a lot of the work.
The park commission in general every year hires a good amount of summer interns to kind of help with the landscaping and the weeding and things like that. But yeah, I mean, so at the county, for example, Tom, he worked in the park commission, then engineering. He just got moved over to planning, where now there is this position now, which is the director of acquisition and management, or stewardship. And so he is kind of overseeing, the opportunities around the county. So I think that he can be very helpful to us. So just an update.
That was good.
Thanks, Tara. Is there anything you need from us regarding that, or that's just
I
an
just wanted
update?
to update you, but if there comes across something that you really want to discuss with the county, I think we should think about it and set up a meeting, with them to discuss any specific trail opportunities.
And could you remind me again where the Soriano property is?
Oh, the former Stavola property.
Yes, sorry.
No, that's okay. You were right though, because Soriano is the name of the guy that's the director. So yeah, so is there.
Okay.
The former Stavola property is by the quarry.
Oh, okay.
It is, I also have it written down here. It's bordered by Route 518 Canal Road and Old Georgetown Road.
Thank you. Now I know.
Yep. It's 149 acres. So,
Okay, great. And so that's a place that we definitely would probably be interested in putting trails on, right?
Yes, it's county-owned property, but yeah, I mean, we would definitely probably be interested at some point in seeing trails there. The other thing I want to mention before I forget, he also did say too, if there's any areas that the county owns, you know, they do work with municipalities, small areas that they can lease back for if you need extra parking or access areas. So that's also something to keep in mind. If the county has some property that they're not using, but maybe we have a good use for it, they can do a lease agreement or a memorandum of understanding. So again, things to look at to potentially work together.
Okay, so that's something we should keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then, next item, stepping stones for stream crossings.
Okay,
Chuck, do
this
you wanna?
Chuck, yep, this was sent by Chuck.
Well, actually, this is, I guess it started with a discussion with Anna. We were going out on the Butler Road trails, and actually, we have stream crossing issues in a number of places on our trails. First of all, we've got the Butler Road trails, which Vanessa is quite familiar with, and I know has worked on. There's one stream area that's just one crossing. Would that be on Butler Road? 10-mile run. I'm sorry, Bunker Hill Road. Is one crossing on those trails, which is pretty wide. The other is areas are the 10-mile run stream just north of the golf course on the Yellow Trail. That's an area that I've actually taken Girl Scout troops down. They've done a number of cleanups in that area. But that is a wide crossing as well. There is another crossing on the Red Trail on 10-mile run stream that is fairly wide. And then there is the tributary on the Purple Trail at Butler Road that is, it's a narrow tributary, but it's deep and there's lots of water going through it. The stepstone issue came up because we've had trouble finding big flat rocks that we can put in these shallow areas, the wide shallow areas of the stream that stay in place and are actually flat enough and stable enough that you can actually step on them and walk across the stream. I have thought for some time that maybe we could just try making some stepstones that would be shaped in such a way that they wouldn't be catching debris from the streams and would probably stay in place during the spring floods and some of the winter floods that we've been having. But even if they were displaced, it would just simply be a matter of picking them up and putting them back in place, and viewing that as sort of a trail maintenance thing. I just put together a diagram of a rough sketch of a diagram from PowerPoint. I believe I sent it to Tara. Do you have that sketch?
Yes. I believe
It was in the agenda. I think it was in the email. It was in there too.
Yeah.
I think this is it. Let's see. This is it.
Yeah, this is just a rough idea, but this was just something that I thought, we can make a few of these fairly cheaply. Would we just experiment, make a few of them and experiment with them and see whether or not they would actually serve as a good walkway across these broad stream areas that are shallow, but we need stepping stones in order to really get people comfortably across. I figure I could make about 3 of these for around $120, just getting materials from Home Depot I'm quite willing to go out and buy $120 worth of materials and try it. I would just like approval from the committee to go ahead and do this. And let's just see if it works, and whether this might be better than the struggles we've been having trying to move large rocks around that don't seem to want to stay in place.
You need more than approval of the committee. I would check with the manager. There might be reasons you can't do that.
Yeah, I have tried to look into DEP regulations about this, and yeah, Bob, I'm sure Bob would know more about it and so on. 10 Mile Run is not a class 1 stream. I do know that, and that seems to be one of the class 1 streams require all sorts of types of approval that we wouldn't have with these streams of a lower category. But I can check with Bob. Is that what I would need to do? Is that is there any objection to going ahead if we can get Bob Morlocker's approval to just experiment with this?
It looked like they'll be pretty heavy. How are you going to get them to the site, Chuck?
I've got a little wagon, and actually the parts of these, none of the parts of this that I've drawn out, and I'm not sure it's the best plan, but it's one to start with, wouldn't weigh more than 20 pounds.
And I would like to thank you, and I would like to help with that as well.
Well, thank you, Anna. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I think it'd be a fun project, and I just, we haven't found anything that works so far. Can we just experiment and see if this works, or find a better way of doing it?
Any other members want to share their thoughts?
Well, there's a little stream at Negre also that is quite impassable.
In the wooded area, in the north wooded area off Bennett's Lane?
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
thing that people are getting across on now is the trail post fell across.
Well, I mean, that's another area that we could, experiment. Some Boy Scouts put in a bridge there, and of course, unfortunately, a lot of Eagle Scout designs don't really stand up that well, is what we've been finding out. They don't have the necessary bracing to make them sustainable, but yeah, we can try it there too.
So I guess what you're proposing is to do like a 3 of these, try them out, and then we can kind of, once again, if the township manager gives us the go ahead,
Yeah.
that has to happen first. But
Sure.
if that were to happen, then to try the 3 out, and then we can assess as a committee if we would recommend to then expand it. Is that correct?
Sure, that's yeah, that's, I'm just looking to see if the committee would approve this, and then we can work our way up the regulatory system to see what else we need to do.
I mean, I've done a lot of like moving around of big, even like gigantic rocks, and the
I know.
water always, we've had this conversation, Chuck, and the water always shifts them. The water always shifts them. I guess
Right.
the only difference with your proposal has the rebar, and that would be that could possibly make the difference. If it didn't have that, I wouldn't think it would work.
Yeah.
That part of the design makes me curious if it could work.
Well, I don't know. It's just something
Yeah.
it's just we're in a situation where nothing so far has worked.
I know the next topic on here is bridges, which is the obvious what could possibly work. But for this part of the conversation, before we go to bridges, anybody else want to share their thoughts or opinions?
Can I just ask, Chuck, do you think that this could technically be called a footbridge or no?
I think the technical term is stepping stone.
Okay. The reason I ask is because there's certain things under DEP permitting called permits by rule. And a permit by rule is an activity you're allowed to do without approval as long as it satisfies all of the requirements of that specific permit by rule, right? So the
Okay.
only thing that is semi kind of close to what we're talking about is number 23, which is they call it footbridge. And basically what it says is authorizes the construction of a footbridge across water provided these conditions are met. No more than 8 feet wide and 6 inches thick. Any pinning or anchoring is accomplished without construction in the channel. The area above and below remain open to the passage of water. The existing elevation is not raised to accommodate or provide access to the footbridge, and no trees are cleared. So for example, if it met the definition of that, that is something that we would be able to do in terms of the state of New Jersey's permitting process, as long as we had approval by the township manager.
Okay, well, let's, yeah, I appreciate getting that information. It sort of sounds like they're describing a bridge.
It does, but
But I mean, you could say that you're bridging the stream with stepstones, I guess.
and we're using our foot to get across it.
Right,
And
so,
we meet
Well, I
the
personally
criteria.
think the bridge is the better way to go. Like if we could do, I mean, if these stream crossings we're talking about, if we could do, you said 8 feet by 6 feet, Tara, is that what you said?
It has to be, yes, no greater than, let me just get back. 8 feet, yes, 8 feet wide, 6 inches thick.
Oh, 6 inches, sorry.
Yep, 8 feet wide, no more than 6 inches thick.
that sounds like the thickness of the deck of a bridge.
Does,
Like,
yeah.
to me,
that
but-
makes
but,
me,
Let's look, I mean, yeah, I'm happy to call people in DEP. I'm not shy. I can, you know, I can pursue this. And I'm happy to do so. In a way, I would sort of like to just do this. This is sort of a quick project. I'm just going to go out and buy a bag of sackcrete and 3 rebars and 3 Home Depot stepping stones and just slap it together. Really, I've mixed a lot of sackcrete before. It's no big deal. It's but I would like to get it in before a spring flood occurs, so we could see what's going to happen.
All right, I think we can, let me talk. I'm actually meeting with Bob next week, so I can put it on my list of things just to make sure it's okay to put it there, you know, for insurance reasons and stuff like that.
Sure.
And if he says okay to the testing of it at least, then we can at least test it out.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd like to join you, but it's a long walk from Florida.
I
So,
know.
so, okay,
but, I can always talk by telephone if there's a issue.
Okay.
but Tara, what you were describing, like that it definitely sounds like what's going on at 6 Mile Run. Like all
Right.
the wooden bridges there, and they have worked, like they have been effective and long lasting. I mean, obviously, you know, every now and then they have to be replaced from huge storms, but yeah, so that'd be neat for us to, if we could consider that and what we
Yeah.
would do to make that happen. I know that the next topic on our agenda is bridges at 10 Mile Run.
Okay.
So kind of segues, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna, I think you had brought this right to our attention, the bridge, a 10-mile run.
Yes, I have, and I would like exactly what Vanessa said. I love the way those bridges look on 6 Mile Run, and I wanted to ask. I mean, I love the idea of the stepping stones if they work with Chuck on the yellow trail. But I wanted to ask you, Tara, and I thought that you prepared something to tell me if somebody wants to build a bridge. There is a hiker officer who proposed to build and construct a bridge. He's an engineer. And what type of, I don't know, agreements we need from the township or this type of thing. I think that you said that you prepared some document about that. What are the steps to apply for permit to build a bridge, basically?
Right. So again, so going back, to the rules I was just reading to you from. So those are the permits by rule. So basically, in terms of doing any type of stream crossing, the best thing you can do is try and fit yourself into one of the permits by rule, because it really skips a lot of problems. Otherwise, you have to get a permit by certification, which is an application to DEP. A permit by rule, if you meet all of that criteria, you can do it, as long as you have permission, obviously, from the town. So the footbridge issue that I was reading to you all before, that's one example. If we could stick to that, which I'm assuming in 6 Mile Run, it's like that plank bridge, right?
Yep, there are some.
So
Tara,
that
will you
that
send-
would be permit by rule number 22, I think, which is, let me share this so you can see. Construction of a trail, it's called, or boardwalk, I think they call it. Let me move this. The construction of a trail or boardwalk. So basically, we can do this as long as we meet these requirements, and this is what they are. So can't be more than 6 feet wide. The ground elevate, here's about the ground elevation. Here's how the boardwalk planks can be elevated, as long as there's area underneath to allow water to pass through. We can't do any disturbance within 25 feet of the top of the bank. Dock or pier connected to trail. When the trail or boardwalk is located, okay, no trees are cleared, cannot remove any trees to do it, and the trail or boardwalk will not result in a net loss of greater than 1/4 acre riparian zone. So we would have to really just make sure that we weren't in any area that would preclude us from meeting these requirements. And then we could try, the first step would be, let's figure out exactly where it should be so that it meets these requirements. And then we would ask, for approval from the township to go ahead and work on that. But it is going to require some mapping.
Can you send me that screenshot of this particular thing so I can share it with the friend of mine who proposed this bridge
Yep.
construction?
Absolutely.
And do I send you his proposal, or once he says it meets the requirement, should I send it to you or to whom?
You can send it to me, and this way I can get it. Let me just stop so I can copy this. And then I can get it, to Bob, and we can talk about it and look over the proposal and all that in conjunction with these requirements.
Okay, because we were thinking about this possibility of this bridge on the purple trail, possibly, where the steps, Chuck was thinking of steps on the yellow trail, and I thought of this bridge on the possibly purple trail.
Okay.
So I will send you all this information. And one more question, because I know Chuck mentioned Eagle Scouts and Boy Scouts. Chuck, if Eagle Scouts and Boy Scouts, let's say, construct something architecturally, can we encourage that and then check the plan with some township engineer or an architect to see the validity of the plan, of the construction plan, to make sure that it's not as poorly constructed as some other bridges? Is that a possibility? Should I encourage proposal from a Boy Scouts, from Pat Dillon, or not?
Are you asking? You're asking Chuck, right?
Yeah, everybody, and Chuck and you, Tara, and everybody. Because I'm very new to this, so I'm not sure what
the place you're talking about really does need a bridge. It not only needs a bridge for hikers. I've had discussions with hunters in the area who also, that's a major obstacle for hunters to take out their game in that area, and that always comes up when I talk to them in the Butler Road Trail area. It's a narrow tributary, but when there's a winter storm, there's a lot of water that comes down through there. The water actually, you can tell from the way the grass is moved that it actually overflows the banks in that area. So it's going to have to be a pretty well built bridge to withstand it.
Bridges over streams are a big problem. Even 6 Mile Run is a state park, and there's a bridge near the Oxbow. That's that bridge is a permanent temporary bridge.
Right.
Basically, they have pretzeled the rules, their own rules, as much as they could to be able to get that bridge in, because even applying to themselves was such a hassle. So putting in a bridge, putting in a bridge you would be amazed how big a deal it is.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I think if we can keep pressing, and I'm pretty good at, keep on nagging people or pressing or I think it's very important because, for example, what Chuck was saying with this purple trail, the bridge is right at the beginning. You walk on a trail for 5 minutes and you have this impossible crossing. And therefore the whole purple trail, like a lot of people just don't hike over there because they can't get to it.
Yeah.
Another thing on the yellow trail, right now, when I'm going to be leading with Vanessa, this group of hikers, most likely I'm going to have to call the golf course to ask their permission to cross their bridge. I mean, that's ridiculous, on the trail for people, for families. Another danger is when they cross the golf course without calling the club, they can get hit with a golf ball, and that presents liability, right? I mean, it's so.
Yep.
Mayor Kramer, okay, sorry, go ahead. Was someone about to speak? No, okay.
I was just going to mention that, Anna, I do think that a lot of the Yellow Trail crossing, that most of the time the water is quite shallow. And I think the greatest difficulties with crossing that you've encountered is during these winter month hikes that you've had because of icing on the rocks and those issues. But I can tell you that in the summer, when I've had Girl Scouts out on that trail cleaning the trail, they love crossing that part of the stream. They do it in their tennis shoes, and they think that's just a terrific thing to do.
Chuck, it is, but I usually hike with people who are older and
Yep.
definitely don't want to do that, and there are many hikers who would come and use our trails. And these are people who are like hiking veterans, who are wonderful people, naturalists, retired people who hike from these two hiking clubs. They hike almost every day of the year. And I cannot really encourage them because of these crossings. So.
Yeah, I know. I get it. It's just.
I feel like since I've joined the Trails Committee, and this has always been, I've kind of given up about asking about bridges because we've never gotten anywhere. So Mayor Kramer, can you help us understand a little bit? I mean, what would it take for us to be able to, even like for a smaller area, like what Tara's describing, it sounds like it's possible, but it's never happened. And so I'm just wondering, what would it take for to have something happen, even like on a small wet space?
It's an application to the state, and our engineers would probably have to help us. Even the thing that Tara just showed, I didn't understand all of that. Did you? About the water flow around, up on the bank?
Mayor Kramer, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we didn't understand, but I'm sure if my friend, the engineer, would have been here tonight, he would have understood it. And that's who needs to understand it, the people who are really like the, engineers. We don't have to understand it, I think, lay people.
I get that. Well, she was asking what needed to be done, and I'm telling her is that you would have to apply to the state, and we'd have to use the township engineers to do the application. I mean, if someone else wanted to prepare an application and our township engineers check it, that's another way to do it, I suppose. But it's just the state has made bridges just particularly difficult. I don't know, there must have been something that happened in the past that they want to make sure that the wetlands are protected.
It is
for-
really true.
so
It's
for-
very difficult. The permitting process is absurd almost in a way.
So for all of them, so like for even like so even like so everything like at Butler Road, at Bunker Hill, like so all so the state has to approve it no matter what, or is it just specific bodies of water?
Well, I know a C1 stream, they would definitely have to approve it. And a C1 stream is basically one that you would find on a map, as
Right.
was explained to me.
The C1 stream, but also the ones, if it's within 25 feet of the top of the bank, even if it's not a C1 stream, they'll have to do some sort of approval. If there's threatened and endangered species identified on site, they have to do an approval. So the mapping really will tell you if you can, what you're looking at. And if we have to do a full permit application, it's hydraulic studies, submitting construction plans. It becomes like, a 50 to $75,000 venture to get going, because of the permitting process.
How do they do it at 6 Mile Run?
Right.
They cheated.
But there's a ton of them. Jorba just puts up those bridges all the time. And
Right,
that's what it
Oh,
seems
I'm
like to
talking
me.
I'm talking about the big bridge that crosses near the Oxbow.
Yeah, I'm not talking, but that one I get, that's a big deal. But what about all the other ones?
I mean,
I would imagine they're illegal bridges probably, or
well, there's that one that kind of goes across the marsh area that's it's like an elevated walkway. Maybe it follows that rules thing.
yeah, that's
It's
probably one of
certainly
those.
more than 6 feet. It's got to be 100 feet. You know where I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If they can fit into one of these permit by rules, but as you can see from what you read, it's difficult to fit into that. And sometimes the stream crossings appear and they're not permitted or anything like that. So.
So, Tara, I will still try to talk to some people, and if you will send me that permit by ruling, right?
I sent it to you. Yep, I
Okay,
just
that's
emailed
good.
it to you.
Thank
Yep.
you so much. And I'll talk to some people because I think it's crazy. We're in America. I understand like in communist Poland, we had to apply for all these permits, but we're in America. I mean, it's incredible. In New Jersey,
We have bureaucracy too.
we're not like backwards some, I don't know, but in Poland it took 10-year plan, 20-year plan, and then we didn't have a bridge anyway, but
Right.
I don't know. Here it's different, it seems. But I'll try to get somebody to look at that. And I really appreciate it. I think that we would make so much more use out of our trails if we could cross the bridges,
All right.
Anyway.
I know, let's go ahead and move on to the next item, which is the winter nature walks.
Okay. I know Chuck and Anna have been working on the winter nature walks. Any updates on that?
I think there was an email sent out about that, and Vanessa is co-leading, right, to winter nature walks.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. By the way, I'm very sorry about being emotional. We got a new puppy, and right now he seems to want to go out, and that's why my camera is off because I'm trying to hold on to him. So I have to take him out right now. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And Vanessa, thank you. Sorry about that.
Chuck, do you have the finalized dates for the hikes? I know.
I don't have them with me, but what I have seen is that I got Anna in touch with Gloria Fidecaro, and Gloria has actually put these hikes on the Parks and Recreation site. And I've been getting emails from Parks and Rec about these hikes, saying they're in collaboration with the Trails Committee, and that pre-registration is required, and there is a link to that. I might be able to find in one of those emails, but I'm struggling with my current computer arrangement.
Chuck, I'm still here. I'm sorry. I have him on the leash. I think it's Vanessa, the 2 dates that you agreed to with me, 27th of February and March 19th. I think that remember from my mind.
So I just wanted to share those with the committee. So February 27th and March 19th, those are both at the Butler Hill Trail. So if any of you are interested and also joining, of course, you are welcome.
Awesome.
Should we go on to the maintenance call with Carl?
It got pushed until Monday, so Monday I will talk to him for sure. That's all.
Okay. And we can move on to old business, the stewardship at Grasslands.
I don't really have any updates right now on that. Nothing yet on the burn. We're still waiting for the good weather conditions, so I'll keep you all posted as soon as I know when it is. I'll email everyone. And in terms of herbicide application, you know, we still continue to work on figuring out costs and how, you know, so we can present everything to the open space committee. So still working on that part. No update yet on the burn, but I do think something soon. So I'll keep you posted.
Reestablishment of demonstration garden plots at Negri.
So Chuck and I have been working on it. It's a lot of information to put together in terms of like the size and what plants we want to do, the cost, who will maintain it. So again, we continue to still work on this. I don't have any update as of now. How about you, Chuck? Any new update?
No, I don't have any updates at the moment. I actually did order a flat of pollinator plants that will be coming in April that could be used for planting some of these plots. But I'm waiting for, I've reached out to master gardeners and also to the, what is it, Sustainable New Jersey?
Mm-hmm. Sustainable Jersey, yep.
People, it's, and they said that they would be calling me back when they found people that might be interested in advising and supporting us with this project, but I have not heard anything at this point.
Okay, yeah, that is the hardest part, is the maintenance part. So, you know, we're
Well,
trying to,
that is the big issue,
Yeah.
is how are we going to maintain these plots? I think I really think it's important to reestablish these plots, among other things, because this was done by Franklin High School students, and they and Melba Batten actually got a grant to establish those plots in the first place. I feel like we ought to try to reestablish and maintain them, but you know, if we cannot find a mechanism for maintaining them, then we need to think about it. Whether is a good thing. One part of this, though, I think is we could go ahead and do, and that would be to design an ADA compliant path through the pollinator area. I mean, that's something that doesn't require germination and you know, instructions and maintenance and so on. That is a part of the project that I feel it would be worthwhile regardless.
Okay.
Along with interpretive science to go in the area as well.
Yep. You know what, one thing I was thinking, Chuck, and I don't know if this is feasible or not, we can talk a little more about it later, but the senior centers in Somerset County, a few of them in Montgomery, I think Bridgewater too, they have a little gardening area for the senior citizens that go and participate in the daytime. I almost wonder if working with building off of that, working with our recreation, if there was like some type of garden club that we could establish through recreation that people might be interested in going there to do the maintenance.
Well, that's a thought too.
Great
Maybe.
idea.
Maybe. I mean, if we can get people, maybe, you know.
Yeah, Anna, you were suggesting, and you reached out to what was environmental stewards, the Somerset County Environmental Stewards, which is a Rutgers extension. project? Had you heard anything from them?
I think those are through Duke Farms. It's like a program through Duke Farms. I'm not sure if she heard from them, but yeah, that's
Oh.
another option too.
Okay.
Well, in progress.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for the update. The last thing we have on here is our trail updates from Trails Committee members. I know this isn't the season that most people get out, but in case you have, if you have a trail update.
Have anything since I took those pictures of the fire break at Negri. Thank you, Chuck, for telling me what they were, but I haven't been out there since. But now that hunting is coming to a slow end,
Right.
there's more opportunities.
Sorry, can I ask a question? I just came back and first of all, I'm sorry I'm so emotional about the bridges. I did want to ask a question about the yellow trail on Butler Road. If people cross on the other bridge, they can really get hurt by a golf ball on the golf course. I wonder whether if we present the, liability issue to the state, whether that could expedite Chuck's idea of having those, stones in easier, like liability issue, danger issue, because people cross this bridge if they just cross it if the stream is full of water. So.
But Anna, they're trespassing when they do that. You're not allowed to do that.
So it would be in fact golf courses. They could be sued by golf course, right? Because they're trespassing. Is this right? Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that's too much of an issue, actually. For everyone, Anna and I talked to Mark Hogan, who's the manager of the golf course. And Mark was quite accommodating in terms of giving us permission to use their bridge across 10 Mile Run stream for hikes doing loop hikes on the Yellow Trail. He said just give him a call and he will notify the golfers to suspend activity until the group got across the bridge.
Yeah, that might work very well for the organized hikes. That's really great of them.
Yeah.
But I think to try and make it sort of a broadly open invitation that we somehow publicize.
Oh, we can't do that. No,
We can't do that at all. We can't go, like Vanessa said, I don't know if they'll sue people, but they certainly might, if they see that kind of traffic just willy-nilly and not part of you haven't, because like you said, Chuck, he would like you to call him and then he'll do this courtesy. Great. But the wide open public's not going to do that and not know to do that. And they won't want to, if we were to put the phone number there, they wouldn't want to feel the million calls, people saying, I'm walking through here. I think it would just turn into, it's not feasible. They're going to, if that starts to happen on a regular basis, they're going to.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Mark. I mean, this would only apply for organized hikes. We notify them actually well in advance that we would be doing that. But yeah, you're right. No, we shouldn't.
So when we lead hikes, Chuck, when Vanessa and I will lead that hike, I was planning on then, calling him exactly when we're on the bridge and also notifying him the day before, 2 days before. But people will see me calling him and they'll ask me, can we do that too? Is that what we're supposed to do?
You need to tell them if they're not part of an organized hike, don't call them.
Right.
That don't use that bridge. That if you're an individual walking on the trail, that you will have to cross the stream.
Right.
Stepping stones or not.
Maybe the golf course could start complaining that the hikers are crossing their bridge. Therefore, the state should allow us to build those stepping stones so we wouldn't do that.
I don't know.
Try all
I
the
don't
angles you
think
can, Anna.
Yeah, sadly, I don't think the DEP's permitting process is going to be very sympathetic in that way.
Yeah.
I see. Let's do that.
So, we're gonna keep trying. We know this is difficult. Like Chuck mentioned before, different times of the year, that stream isn't as big of a deal.
Okay.
Of course, people will get a little bit wet. But let's go back to the agenda. Right now, we're doing the trail, the trail condition updates.
Yeah, I want to echo what Anne Marie said about it's been tough to go, like my wife and I go out to Grigstown, and that's our area. And, being one of the two grasslands, hunting and having an opportunity there has been pretty much just Sundays, and Sundays don't work great for my wife. And so we haven't been out there in a while. I've been near there. I've been to the Bunker Hill Environmental Center a number of times. But I haven't been out on the actual trails because of the Sunday issue. But hopefully, like Anne Marie said, within a week or two here, that's wrapping up, I think, in February here, and we'll be able to go out again.
Well, I went on Butler Road Trail with Chuck, and I'm not sure if you already spoke about this, that the red trail is not maintained well. And the other trails, the trees have fallen, and also there are a lot of sticking out wineberries and multiflora rows that need to be cut as well.
Thank you. I don't have a trail update, but I did in lieu of my trail update, I wanted to mention that yeah, I'm sure you all remember Megan House, the Girl Scout Gold Award, who did her Gold Award project on the spotted lanternfly. Well, her sister Molly reached out to me, and Molly is now working on her Gold Award,
Oh, wow.
and she wants to create a trail guide to encourage girls to hike. So that is her project that she's pitching to me. She asked me to be her sponsor as well. And Chuck, I know you understand this, that you can't say no.
Oh, I can't.
So I'm sure I already, she has your number as well from her sister, because you were so helpful in the
Okay.
spotted lantern
Oh, yeah.
fly.
Yeah, we're always glad to help.
Yeah.
It's actually very enjoyable and satisfying to do that. They work.
Yeah, for sure. So she's looking to get something together, and she wants to, put this guide together. She's hoping that she could post it on our website, put some, make some flyers, and also lead some hikes. And she's hoping to wrap this all up before September. So she'll probably ask to be on our agenda, but I just wanted to plant that seed for you guys.
Okay. That sounds great.
Is there anything else before we adjourn the meeting? Anne Marie, thank you for being our timekeeper. Thank
Yes.
you for keeping us. We got the whole agenda done.
Yes.
And it's almost 9 o'clock. 2 minutes to go.
2 minutes to go. All right.
Excellent.
If there's nothing else, going to have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Can I just ask? Let me just check, make sure Bill doesn't have any questions or anything. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Hi, Bill.
Hello, I'm good, thanks.
All right. Thank you. Okay. And no other members of the public.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right. My words have escaped me now.
You just gave up and then, yeah.
Those in favor.
All in favor of adjournment. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
Bye.
Thanks for the meeting.
Yeah.
Those